holding pattern was also like started out by sort of how you could actually sort of make more of this period.
PS1's a wonderful museum, and it has a good relationship with its neighbors, but it also kind of surrounds itself with a 16-foot concrete wall that creates this very funny distinction between what goes on inside and outside. Us being lovers of the outside, namely Queens, where PS1 is, we thought it also just made a lot of sense to make connections between Queens and the institutions.
So we asked people what they needed, and we sort of evaluated those needs, and we actually built or bought things for different people in the community. We put that in the courtyard over the summer, and then afterwards we gave them to the people in the community. And so it was like this kind of radical form of recycling where, you know, everything that was used during this temporary installation was actually recycled and given to someone afterwards.
This is an interesting project because it's relatively limited in its size, right? It's a courtyard for a museum, but by the way we set up the process of generating the design, for us it was more of an urban design project in the end than an architecture project, in the sense that we didn't, you know, develop some idea for a building and then build it one-to-one there, but we set up the framework and approached, in a sense, many different clients, right? Instead of just having one client, the museum, we had, you know, 50 neighbors that had different wishes and that we responded to. Or one group that we talked to is a ballet school that is just expanded this fall, and they said they needed new mirrors. So we bought these large mirrors for the ballet school and arranged them in the courtyard, which was great. In the courtyard, it was one room that was entirely mirrored. It was a crazy space, but it wasn't anything that we would have thought about before, right? So this kind of dialogue is not only do we think that what we did is maybe has a longer impact or is sustainable in that sense that things are reused afterwards, but it was also for us, you know, an interesting way of working.
And you would say that it's not only makes it sort of fun and interesting for us, but we also think that it presents the opportunity to connect architecture to other things in the city, and so that in the end, the product, say the mirror room, it's not only an interesting environment in the context of the museum, but then it has this other value because then all of a sudden the ballet school has an interest in what's happening in the museum, and then afterwards the museum's materials are in the ballet school, and so it somehow in a way increases the enmeshing of these different groups and even materials within the city. And we think that architecture is more say valuable and productive if it has these other connections to things outside of the discipline itself.